Alright guys, welcome back. Today we are doing a movie review, which we don't normally do, but I thought since I just watched the movie last night, and I saw a bunch of special features that went along with it, I thought we could review Total Recall. With Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is the original, this is not the remake. So basically we're going to start out with summing up the movie. There aren't really much spoilers because you can kind of predict the ending.
It starts out with a dream sequence of him on Mars with this woman that he doesn't even know, and basically he's had this same dream multiple times over and over, and his wife knows he has, but she completely despises the idea of going to Mars. He talks to his friend about recall, and his friend talked about this one guy who might have gone lobotomized, and so he goes anyways. And as much as he says he would like to go to Mars, the guy keeps on recommending other places like Saturn, and then, as a salesperson should, he keeps on advertising these things you could do, like what is the most boring part about every vacation you've ever taken? You've always been you. And so basically, he's trying to sell him another identity for this whole spy.
Of course, Quaid, which is Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, goes ahead and chooses secret agent. So he goes into the machine and he's about ready to get the implant, and then
he just goes
flips
crazy.
out. Yeah, he flips out.
You blew my cover!
The guy comes in. He's like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "Oh, he's just reenacting his trip." And they're like, "Well, that's impossible because we haven't implanted it yet." So it makes you think maybe that, this is real, maybe it makes you think that the rest of the movie is really happening. On his way home, he runs into the guy he was talking to earlier, his friend, and he tries to kill him. And so he kills all him and his thug friends, I guess. And, he gets home, and his wife, who's played by Sharon Stone, is like, "Honey, what happened?" And he says, "Oh, my friend tried to kill me." Yeah, and so later we find out, that his friend, and her, they're all in on this plan. And the main thug, Michael Ironside, is basically, he wants to kill Quaid because the whole plot is that he got an implant, and his original name was Hauser, and he worked for this guy named Cohagen, who is basically the guy who runs Mars. He basically owns Mars because he owns the air. Hauser works for Cohagen, but he gets an implant to become a memory implant to become Quaid. What they're trying to do is get the Quaid character to believe that Hauser has turned against Cohagen, but in reality, they use Quaid to lead them to the resistance, and Hauser was with Cohagen all along.
Schwarzenegger, Quaid, and the girl he's with try and get away to go and turn the air on.
Yeah, they find out that there's this reactor in the center of Mars, and it can actually produce air. It basically
enough air to make the atmosphere of Mars breathable.
Arnold saves the day, he activates it, and Mars gets air. So that's basically the whole plot. I think all the actors were at least decent. I think there were, I think Ronnie Cox was really good as the Cohagen guy. Michael Ironside was kind of like the main thug that worked for Cohagen. Sharon Stone was great as Arnold's wife in it. Yeah, the story I like the story though, because it just makes you think the whole time. And that's one of the things. You never know if it's a dream or it's real. They say, "Oh, it hasn't been implanted yet," so it makes you think this is all real. They've triggered this memory of Hauser, but you also think maybe that the trip is just so real that it feels like you already had those memories. So it's really deep. And at the end, it kind of gives you a hint because I was watching with commentary, and the director, had the end fade to white instead of black to make it seem like maybe he got a lobotomy after the dream was over. So that was, you're never sure. And I was hoping when watching the commentary that they would answer that question, whether it's a dream or not, but of course they didn't. So, you know, you kind of have to leave it to your judgment to, you know, to think whether it's a dream or not. So yeah, I thought, you know, it's such a great movie. A lot of the special features were pretty good, but I felt like they could have gone more behind the scenes when shooting. They didn't really show too much. Oh, we didn't talk about some of our favorite special effects moments. Mine is probably the X-ray in the subway station where they're, you know, checking for guns and stuff. And it's probably my favorite because it was one of the first computer effects used in a big budget movie like that. Because really before then, they didn't look that great. But with something like this, you know, they could really get it looking good, and I think it still holds up today.
My two favorite special effects scenes are between the X-ray machine and the lady disguise. And basically, what the lady disguise is, he tries to get in without anyone noticing him as Quaid. And so he's wearing this fat lady suit. And when this guy starts questioning her, she keeps responding 2 weeks, and then he has to pull on the ear, which like ejects out of the head and sucks back in, and then the whole face opens up. It like splits in half, and he takes it off and he throws it.
It's a really impressive shot. You know, I mean, it looks a little fake now, but I think, you know, at the time it was really impressive. Yeah, but basically the disguise malfunctions and he has to take it off and run away. So yeah, that was a really awesome scene as well. A lot of the wide shots of Mars, you know, like showing the landscape and stuff, that was done with miniatures, and those looked really nice. And, you know, just the whole movie, I think a lot of the special effects were done really well. You know, they're really believable, and I think it still holds up today for the most part. The Blu-ray isn't very expensive at all, and it has a lot of pretty good special features. Not as good, I think, as they could be, but you know, they're still pretty good if you want to see a glimpse of the behind the scenes. Please go watch the movie, even though we said, you know, basically the whole plot and gave away some of the key special effects scenes away. You really got to see it for yourself, and I think it's a classic movie, one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time, and yeah, I think it's just, you know, it's like a thrill-a-minute movie, and I think it's definitely probably one of the best sci-fi movies of all time. You have anything else to say?
No.
Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, subscribe. As always, we'll see you next time.
Catch!
Get ready for a surprise!